All right, just like that, we're out of here. That's with cutting down a tree and performing a mow below. Mow trim below. Also have helped them put a hose in their pool. I guess to fill it for closing. I don't know, what time did I get on scene? I didn't leave the house till after 4, right? I left the house, that's probably a half hour worth of work for a few $100s. This is where I make the argument all the time. You could 100%, and there's guys that do it and they make a hell of a lot more money than I do. There's guys that try and do it and they make a lot less than I do. I think I'm going to spread the narrative of being the part-time guy. And, you know, you're not chucking the truck. You know what you're doing. You have equipment. This is a diesel 350 with a 16-foot trailer and a skeg on the back. Okay? You need 16 feet for the skeg now. I have a tractor. I have, you know, you have a full... Are you a full operation that has a fleet of mowers and bobcats and excavators? No. Can you rent that stuff when you need it? Yes. I'd like a dump trailer. Gonna have to figure out the logistics on that, but I will make the case for if you have a good paying, or even like not saying you need to be making not saying you need to be making like, you know, thank you so much, dude, giving me a nice wide room. I'm not saying you need to make, you know, $500,000 at your job, but if you have a decent paying job, let's say you make 100, let's just use 100 as a round number. So you make 100 at your day job, okay? You could easily make half of that on the side if you have decent hours. If you have a off-hour kind of job, like let's say you're a cop or fireman or you know whatever, you could make more. But you could easily turn your, we got people walking here in a car incoming. Could easily turn your, people walking there. That was the car back there that passed me. You could easily turn that $100,000 annual you know, what you get paid, your annual salary, into $150 by working more. And in my case, I have a job where I'm out the door to my job very early in the morning. I'm out the door in the 5 o'clock hour, but I'm home early enough that I could knock out a couple lawns. I'm done for the day. It's before 5. So I am home before your quote unquote 9-to-5ers get out. Most days I wrap up around 6. So this is a little early today, but you have an idea. Now you saw what I just did today. That was one property, 2 little jobs on one property. Out of respect for the client, I'm not going to give the exact price, but let's just say multiple mows. That was more than that client's monthly mow bill. Okay, so if you figure out what a property costs to cut, I'm going to tell you my minimum is some are $67. Most new minimums are $70. But let's just use the 67. It's more than their monthly, you know. So that was what was charged today. Now, you're not making that every day. I've said this before, but if you could string together just some mowing and one of those a week, or you do a little something extra, or one big project a month where you have, like in my case, I have the deer, I have the tractor, and I can use that to spread mulch, haul rock, clear out a wooded area, do some light grading. I know it's not really meant for grading, you know, whatever. You can easily make money. Put a plow on the truck in the winter, make money. My goal is to make a little bit more than one of my paychecks each month in this business. That's a goal that's now set way too low. I'm going to try and match my salary. That's going to be a goal that's set too high, but somewhere we're going to try and go in here. Somewhere we're going to find the happy medium. Country things here, off-roading, not off-roading, but thread the needle. That's a well right there, and that's a tree right there. We're threading that needle here, and this is an example of why I need a dump trailer, because that's overflowing. The above that tongue box, that piece that you see right there is sticking out probably a few 2 to 3 feet over the trailer, so that needs to get trimmed down. Obviously we're going to knock everything else down on top, but that's the reason why I need a dump trailer. But anyway, Ted, if you are a guy who makes a decent living and has a job where you're not necessarily 9 to 5, because by the time you get home, it's too late. You know, summer months, you might be able to mow a lawn at 7 o'clock. It's also, people don't want that. People don't want you in their yard that late. They might have kids they're trying to put down. They might have a baby they're trying to put down. You know, you don't want, or their neighbors might, you know, even if they don't. You don't want to be out there that late. But, you know, if you get swamped with rain and you need to make up some lawns, totally cool. Once in a while, when, you know, it's still super light out and you're doing this here and there, okay. But if you have a career where you're out at 2, 3, and you're home by 3, and you could, even if you're home at 4, and you could knock a few out, do it. A lot of, you know, there's the weekend warriors. I personally don't like to mow anybody's yard. I only do my, like, in-laws and the ones next to them. That's just a me thing. I think a lot of people have their weekends off, and, you know, they don't want to they want their lawns done while they're at work. They don't want to be waking up to a mower at 8, 9 o'clock Saturday morning and, you know, dealing with that. But if you know, you can make great, extra money. And, I'm going to be the, you know, day in the life of, you know, starting my day at 4, you know, I could start earlier. I could start my day at 3:30. Unfortunately, most days my wife doesn't get home till 4:30. So I'm kind of on baby watch until then, which is fine, we have a great system. But, so I'm a little bit handcuffed, by maxing out my potential there. But everybody's work-life balance, family balance is completely different, and you just have to do it. And, you know, just do it. And, you know, you could be the neighborhood guy you don't have to be a kid to mow you know, there's a guy over here that mows a couple of the neighbors' lawns for extra cash. He's like retired now, but he's like young retired. He retired at like 55 or something. You don't have to be, you know, you don't have to be a kid to do that. You know, this guy stripes arguably better than me, because he's got a beautiful stripe kit on his mower. And all those lawns are beautifully fertilized and irrigated and all that. So he has great lawns. And, you know, I don't think he takes a trailer around, but he just does a few of those for extra cash, extra, whatever, a couple $100 it is a month. Few $100 probably a month. And, you know, and that's his little hustle. But then you could expand, have a truck and trailer, you know, somebody else, you know, or a friend of a friend or a friend, you know, whatever. And then you just get the ball rolling, and then it kind of takes off from there. And then, you know, you do decent work and people refer you, and you don't even need to advertise. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up so I could go inside and be with my family for the rest of the night. Everybody have a great day.